Hey campers, George here, back in the man cave. Yeah, doing some research on this guy. See that? Slimline Trapper. Let's check it out. So this is the knife I'm talking about. Now, I own a couple of sabers, most of them out of Japan. This one is not from Japan. It's not from Ireland. You'll be shocked where it's from. Let me show you the tang stamp. Ha! Yeah, it actually says Pakistan. Did not know that. So I went back into the archives to see what information I have on Sabre. I own Sabre Japan knives, love them. Great knives, inexpensive, well made, and for somebody who's on a budget or just starting collecting, it's a great place to start, is with Sabre. There's a lot of them out there, and also, see this? That's a list of some of their knives, all the model numbers and what they are. Well, I looked this guy up, and it says, as you saw on the tang stamp, 620. And I thought to myself, wait a minute. I've seen sabers out there that just have 2 digits. Where did the 3rd digit come from? So I looked that up. And yeah, they added a 3rd digit. In fact, some of their model numbers only have 1 digit. The older, the less numbers. So this is a 620, which means it's a little newer than the other guys. And like I said, Pakistan. Wow. And yep, it is the Sabre Pakistan 620 Slimline Trapper. Now I gotta tell you, it's not bad. And you know what? It looks like a saber. Huh. Back to the number. They added that number because they wanted everything to be even. So if you had the original number, which was a 1, for example, the 1 was a baller with a sheep's foot main blade. There you go. Well, that number now is a 601. All they've done is added a 6, and if it was a 1 digit, they put a 0 in front of it. So it was a 601 now, which used to be just a 1. This guy is a little rusty and crusty, so we got to fix him up. I did some more research, trying to find out who actually owns Sabre. Now, interestingly enough, and when I look up stuff, I keep track of what I pasted to a document. And every time I look them up and I find something new, I just add to the document and I have it saved under my knife info. Here's something interesting. As far as US manufacturers of the Sabre brand, Ulster made some in the 1960s to 70s, and Colonial made quite a few. Did not know that. Now, those are the USA-made ones. They were actually owned by a company called Coal National Corporation. And they had people from all over the world making their knives. Interestingly enough, they at one time owned K-Bar, and that was their premium brand, and then they had Sabre as their more affordable brand, I'll say. But I gotta tell you, looking at this, they're not bad, even the more affordable ones. And like I said, Japan, Ireland, I've seen, they had them made all over. Lately, of course, in China. But if you find an old one like this, they are well made. I mean, they did a good job in making sure that they were consistent in what they produced. Didn't matter where it was made. So there you go. Back to this guy. What I want to do here is we'll have a quick look at it, see what it's all about, and then we're going to clean it up, make them all sharp and shiny, and put them with the collection. I'll see if I can find the others, because my collection's all a hoo right now, and I'll have to do some searching. The good thing is they're pretty obvious to see, so I'm sure I'll be able to find them fairly quickly. Let's clean it up. Okay, so here we have the ne'er-do-well. Let's have a close look at this guy. Like I said, it is the Sabre Pakistan, the number 620 Slimline Trapper. And you can see it's well made. It's got some weight to it, typical for Sabre. Their knives were pretty solid. I'm not sure what the bolster is. I suspect it's brass or something like that. The blade is carbon. Here you can see the tang stamp. The handle material, I'm not sure. It's some sort of plastic. I don't think it's that nasty stuff, although if you look closely, it looks like along there it may have shrunk, which makes me wonder if it's that nasty stuff, but I'm not sure. And the blade, you can see here a nice long clip. What do you want to call it? I call them a California, a toothpick maybe, not quite, a little bit too thick for that. But it's got that long sweep, so I just call them a California. There is an official name. There's actually different types of clips called different names. And you can see it's pitted. Not surprising. A lot of scratches on the wonderful sharpening systems whoever owned it used. Inside needs to be cleaned. Steel liners, pretty typical for Sabre. They're well made. There's no half stop. It's still got really good snap on the spring. You can see there, snaps right back in. No half stop, like I said, and snaps closed. There, look at that. That's not good. Now that could just be dirt in the well. So we'll clean the well up and see if that goes away. Typically, if it's not something like dirt or things like that, it's sharpening. As you're sharpening, you're reducing the cutting edge here, and as you reduce, the knife shrinks. Well, that clip goes up. So as you shrink it, the height of the clip goes up, and eventually it'll start to stick out. Not good. And the way to fix that, well, on the ricasso here, this, I forget the name, somebody told me the name of this part here where it sits on when it's closed. You can just file that down very slightly, and you will drop the blade so that it's not sticking out. So other than that, we're looking good. What we're going to do is go through the whole cleaning process. You know how I do that. It doesn't really have a bunch of rust buildup on it, so I don't need to dip it. I'm just going to go straight in and start with my favorite sandpapers and work my way through. We'll do that, and I'll show you what sandpaper I use as I go in the end result, so you have an idea of what's going on. I think I'm going to clean the well first, because I want to see if that tip's going to drop. So let's do that. Okay, so here we are. This is typically all I'll need to do that, hopefully. And of course, to file this tip down, if I need to, I've got files. Here I have 600, 1000, 2000, 7000 sandpaper. This is 600 wet dry, which I'm going to use on the well. And I use this when I'm cleaning the well. And of course, a support for the blade when you sanding it so that you're not pushing down on the bolster. Let's get into that well. First thing you have to remember, check your blade. It's not really sharp, but it does have an edge, so got to tape it up. with this stuff. I find this works well. This is just that blue painter's tape. Let me do that. So here we are here. I just taped it up, and what that's for is when you're going back and forth in here, if you slip, you're going to go right across that blade. So this protects you as well as protecting the blade. You don't want to run sandpaper across the cutting edge, so there's that. So here we go. Let's get her done. Got my 600 wet dry. I just want to start cleaning up on the inside. Double it over to make it a little bit thicker so that when you're in there, you're rubbing both sides of the liners, and you just want to go back and forth. And you're going to go until you see the bottom of the well start to shine, and of course the sides. And I don't think I have it thick enough, so I'm going to make it a little thicker. Now, if you have foam back sandpaper and you have a really big well, you can double this over and it works even better. This will work for a thin one like this. Force it in there. You don't want to pull the knife apart, but you want it tight so that you're rubbing on both sides. And just go. Starting to shine. And don't forget, you've got it curving up at the back here. You want to clean there and in here. Try and get all the way over, and of course clean up the bottom of your ricasso or your tang here. Interesting is that it's greasy or something in there. Look how it's filled up the sandpaper. Ew. Maybe I should have dipped it. Oh, it's coming off now. Just takes a bit of persistence. You know what? I think I'm going to take it upstairs and dip it in some light soapy water and just give it a rub and get that. I don't know what it is. It's just like buildup of like greasy. It's filling up the sandpaper. Okay, I retaped it after giving it a rub in some warm water and just light dishwasher soap, and it took off a lot of goop. I don't know what was in there, but now if you look carefully you can actually see some shine. So back at it. Remember I was talking about this, you can just, I did retape it because obviously I just dipped it. You want to get into all the nooks and crannies you can, because when you're done you want everything to be shiny, right? And you can see there it's shining up nicely. It's the little things. Push down right on that bottom and you'll be able to see the shine starting to come through there. It's kind of hard to show it because you've got to get the right angle. The joy. Another thing you can do, remember I said I had my ice pick here that I rehandled. You can use that and you put it in. Put this in, push down on it, you can really get onto the bottom and give it a good scrape. And then don't forget this back piece here, curves up. People see that. Now I'm paranoid. Hard to see, but it is clean in there. Okay, let's get on to the rest of it. So I'm going to start with the blade. So here we are, and I've got the 600, and we're going to start on the ricasso. I go this way, and then I finish off going the length of the blade. I find it gives a better finish. But you need to get into all the little nooks and crannies. And when you turn the blade like this, you can get a little bit deeper in there. Support the blade. You don't have to press hard. And the boss is in the office. And then I just go back and forth, going back and forth and up and down. You're never going to reduce the scratching on it, but you can make it look better. To reduce some of the scratching on these blades, they're so deep you'd land up with tin foil for a blade. So don't try and get rid of it, just make it look nicer than it was. The tip here, if you bury it, because if you put it like that, you're going to catch. It stings when you do that. Once again, put that tip in. And then we're going to do this side. We got pitting. You know what I forgot to do? Look to see if the tip's sticking out. We'll look at that when I'm done here. The nail neck. They're always dirty. Really hard to clean. But if you get some of that same wet dry that I was using, you can probably get in there. And there you can see the stuff that's coming out of it. See there? A lot of goop coming out. And now it looks a little cleaner. Okay, let's see if that blade is still sticking out, the tip. And you can see how the tip, it's not the perfect tip. Might have to reshape it. Yep, it still sticks out a little bit. You see that? So we know it's not dirt. So now we got to touch that up with a file. Very slowly. When you do this, your blade's right here. Be careful. You're going to mess up the blade. And you just need to go very slowly. This is hard. Okay. Keep at it, a little bit at a time, and check. It's dropping. A little bit more. And there we are. Now you can see I've dropped it a little bit further below. One of the reasons is I want to sharpen this point, and I might take a little bit off it, so I want it to stay down there. Now we can clean up the rest. When you do the backing here, be careful of the handle. This plastic or whatever it is will overheat very quickly and start to melt, and you get sticky and icky. So be careful of that and don't press too hard. I bend my thing like this so I can just... This is 600. I'm just using it to get the heavy mess off. Crack in the handle. You're going to have to fill that in. I mean, it'll move. It's not moving. So we can, I think I'll fill it in with some colored glue and it won't be so obvious. Be careful, if you catch that you're going to break it off. Okay. Now these, I'm not sure if they are brass all the way or not. We're about to find out. I'm going to go very lightly. Yep, I think they are. You can see. Good. Because there's nothing worse than cleaning and it goes from brass to silver. Never a good thing. Very lightly, just back and forth. You want to get rid of some of the scratching. You can see it there. See how the bolster and it's beaten up here around the pin. Must have been loose, and whoever owned it gave it a couple of taps to tighten up the blade. Yeah. Now you can see them. I'm not going to get rid of them, but they'll look a little better. These pins brass? Yeah, they are. Look at that. I think this was repinned. Maybe that's what broke it. Or maybe this is shrinking. Where is the... Oh. I couldn't see the pin. It's over there. Oh, another crack. Oh boy. We got some filling to do. No, it's just on this side. Oh well. So here we're at 600. We've done the blade, the handles, the bolsters, the liners, and inside. Now we start stepping through on the blade. We'll get that done all the way up to 7,000. And we'll do that everywhere. Okay, so here we are at 600. And it's got a pretty good shine on it. 1,000. Careful of that. Watch the blade. There's a lot of build-up on this handle. We're going to have to clean that out. When we're done, we'll go up and wash it out again with that warm water. Once we got it clean, then we can work on that, because we don't want the glue to hold in the dirt that's there. So we need to make sure that it's clean before we put any glue on it. So there we are at 1000. Starting to look pretty now. Rinse and repeat, 2000. So here we are at 2000. 7,000. So there we are. That's at 7,000, and it shined up nicely. So now I want to go wash this. When I was washing out this, I should have cleaned that, but I forgot. But Mary won't notice if I use her toothbrush. Okay, I cleaned the handle up a bit, got most of it off. So now we have to take care of these. And what I'm going to do is get some super glue and a dash of black paint, and hopefully that'll help. Just using some black acrylic. This is clear super glue from Loctite, and it is the professional, and it works great. It dries quick, so you got to be quick. Maybe we need to put the black on here. Let's try that again. let that dry. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Okay, now we've got to clean these up somehow. So let's give it a try. I'm likely going to go over this with 600. Hopefully it's dry. It's been a while. Ooh, we got a big bump there. Might have put too much on. Well, it's not perfect, but at least it's not going to break off, come apart. And I've still got to go over the whole thing with mothers, which we will do right now. And then we got to sharpen this and bring that point up. One thing about mothers is it really evens out the shine. It smooths it out and gets rid of a lot of hot spots. Shinier than others. It evens it out really nicely. So here we go. And here you can see what I mean. It's a much more even shine. The problem is mothers is not food safe. It even cleaned out the nail neck. So if you do use mothers, I recommend that you wash it with light soap and water afterwards to get the residue off that mothers will leave behind. One thing you have to be careful is your plastic stuff. Mothers will heat a surface very quickly, so don't be going fast like this. Just take your time. You don't want to overheat it and have it melt, because if you do that, it will drag this dirt into any light plastic and you'll see it. So remember that. Not so much on the dark stuff, but still. You can see how it really brings out the shine. It's a thing of beauty. Huh. Now I'm going to do the handle, but I'm going to go really slowly, and you just want to clean it up. Hopefully we'll get rid of most of the glue looking stuff. We'll see. Once again, slowly. See if we can make those fixes look a little better. See how dull they are? Hopefully. And here we are here. Looks a little better. They're not as dull as they were before, not as obvious. So we got some improvement out of it. Who would have thought that a knife from Pakistan could shine up like this? Not me. Let's sharpen it, and we're going to put some oil here right in the bolster, because with all the sanding and everything, dust buildup. So if you put a little bit of oil in there, move it around a bit, the oil will actually push the nasty out and make it a lot smoother. I am using a food safe oil. You can use vegetable oil, things like that. As I move it back and forth, can you see the oil is getting dirty? Be careful when holding that blade. And you can see it'll start to push the nasty stuff out. You can see that. Very nice. Let's sharpen it. I'm going to use my Zarlik portable system. Nice little fold-up system, easy to carry around. Just cleaning off the plates using a regular eraser. You get a build-up on it of previous sharpening. It's a good way to clean it up. It just takes off the excess build-up. Starting off with 320 because I want to really clean this edge up. I'm using 20, it's a good number for this type of knife and the uses. All I'm going to do is sweep back and forth, not necessarily back and forth. I'm going to sweep until I can feel the curl all the way on the other side. Should have done this sooner, but I want to make sure I'm getting a nice even edge. I needed to take a lot off to get that point and get it even. So let's see how even that edge is. Oh yeah. I'm going to 800 now, and we'll see how we're doing. Just going to clean up that edge. It shouldn't take much. You hear that initial sweep was louder? It's getting rid of that little curl. Let's see how we did. I'll strop it quickly just to clean it up. Okay, let's see how we did. I am so bad at this. I think that'll do. It'll cut anything I need. So there you are. Here it is here. Turned out pretty. You know, people say Pakistan, stay away from. And you know, I'm one of them. But this, wow. Who would have thunk? The 620 Sabre Pakistan Slimline Trapper. Look how nicely this thing cleaned up. Right? You saw this lying around, you'd never say Pakistan, that's for sure. So pretty pleased the way this cleaned up. It really shines up nicely. Very cool. An addition. And speaking of additions, after bragging about the fact that I could pull one out of nowhere, I could only find two of mine. And here is a baler. I really like this baler. Look at that. And you can see it says, on the bolster here, it says, I don't know if you can see that, it says Sabre Brand on it. And it has Barlow on the other side. And on the tank stamp, it says Sabre Japan. See that? So, after cutting up my list, I always do that. I thought I'd look them up. And it says here, the 601 and the 603, the 601 is the Barlow with the sheep's foot main blade. This is a clip, and then it says the 603 Barlow with a clip main blade. So I'm assuming that's this guy. And if you look very carefully at that tank stamp, you see at the bottom there, it says 3. So this is an older guy than the majority out there. It's only got the 1 digit on it. And what they did was to make everything, they put the 60 in front of it. This one, old style. Beautiful handle, really cleaned up nice, in good condition. So there you go. And then this guy, yep, camper, scout, utility, whatever you want to call it. And it is Sabre Japan. See that there? And I think the number's there, but I'm really struggling to see it. Let's see what they say. They say that, oh, Scout. Interesting, they say the Scout is a 619, and then in parentheses they say 19-B. Huh. Now I've got to look at this. I've got to figure out what this is. And the number is 619. So this is a newer knife compared to this guy, because it's got the 3 digits. So 619 is the Scout from Sabre, Japan. Very cool. I like their stuff. Their knives are, I mean, you look at, here's 3 of them. Okay. They're pretty solid knives. Look at it. They're all consistent. Even out of Pakistan. What do you want me to say? Sabre, Pakistan. Who would have thunk, right? You all be safe out there. Especially when you're cleaning these things up. You know, like I said, you're working with a sharp blade. Always check the blade before you start working on it. Even if it's a little dull, tape it up. And when you obviously can't because you're doing certain tasks, just be really careful. Be aware of that blade and where it is and what you're doing. And I just realized that I tightened up that tip, and it's still good. It's still below the thing. So there you go. I didn't mess up. Wow. But we made the tip a little prettier. Very cool. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe. You know the story. What's coming up? Well, your guess is as good as mine. I'm right in the middle of sorting everything out. Man cave's already looking a lot better. Not right now because I pulled out all those, all my collection cases to find those sabers. I got to make a list. I have to make a list of my knives. Have no idea how I'm going to do that. Well, I do. It's just going to take me, I don't know, a long time. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Always, always appreciate it. Hopefully, this video helped you out. If you're thinking about cleaning knives and stuff like that, just be careful. Just say. See you again soon.